my, coursing through
I
my
can
blood.
I can understand that, but in Dallas, when you were in Texas, I find this really fascinating. When you were in Texas, in Dallas City, you were the city council, you were the youngest candidate on the ballot in, 1991 and 92?
Yeah, that was an accident.
What made you go for that so young?
Like I said, I didn't run to try to be the youngest guy. I mean, I wasn't trying to set a record or anything like that.
How old were you?
I was 22.
Wow.
But so I've been doing this for almost 20 years as far as being involved, and I was just standing up for my community. I wanted to stop the secession movement. I felt that it was an elitist group within my community that was feeling that if they broke off from the city, they'd be able to...
You said an elitist group, you mean the Republican Party at that time?
No, actually they were Volvo Democrats.
Okay. Were you a Democrat at that time?
No, I've been a Republican all my life since I was probably about 9-10 years old, because of my neighbors on both sides of me were Republicans, and they were always bringing me to Republican meetings and Republican dinners, and I was a Boy Scout, so I got to do things like...
So you've been engaged very early in your
I got dragged into it very young. Yes.
Wow.
And so, I just stood up for my community. And so I just wanted to keep my community together. Some people call that being a community organizer.
I wonder what that's like, your own acorn. You know what's so cool about Al Ramirez, too, that I think is so good? You really connect with the hiphoprepublican.tv and .com family, because you are the essence of what we're talking about. Someone that got engaged very young in his life, understood the process, ran for office, win or lose, and definitely made a contribution to you and to the establishment that you got involved with.
Well, I mean, I came in second place in a two-man race, and that sounds better than saying I came in last.
Yes. I didn't win at all.
Yes. And but my results were impressive enough. There were 7 candidates running for city council and mayor in the city of Dallas that year, that were Hispanic. And on election night, they had the mail ballots and all that, but on election night, I had more ballots cast for me than any other Hispanic candidate. And so that gave the Republican Party some encouragement that people, knew that I was a Republican. They knew that I had conservative values and pro-business values, and they needed a candidate to run for the state legislature the next year.
Okay.
And so it was mirrored very much my city council district that I run in, so they recruited me to run for the state legislature the next year so that I could capitalize on that, because after redistricting, they'd lost a district that was going to be a majority Hispanic district. It was really gerrymandered. It would have been tough for somebody else to run, but I had a base there, and I'd proven that I could attract the vote, and that I'd proven that I could overcome the odds, because a lot of people thought 22-year-old kid has never had a job, doesn't have any real money, doesn't come from extreme, nice middle-class family, but they're not the Kennedys. And so I think that they saw that I could do a lot with a little bit, and because a lot of people thought I wasn't even going to pull 5%, but I pulled 22%.
22% you pulled.
At 22 years old.
At 22 years old.
No experience.
In a major city.
No experience, just out there on your own charm.
Yes. On his own charm.
And Dallas is a big city. It's not. We're not talking about running in a small town or a suburban community. We're talking about a major city with a lot of things going on, a lot of
This is the challenge that Murrow and I have. We always talk about, we know as candidates, you have to have money to run.
Oh, yeah,
you have to have money to run. And I mean, just your marketing. Look at this marketing. He's so smart. You have over 200,000 people on Twitter following him. 200,000 people following you on Twitter.
That's an accomplishment.
That is amazing. And no other candidate in California has that many out the box starting with no name, no recognition. Nobody knows who you are. I mean, there's a lot of urban young Republicans who need to hear about how did you do that, because they don't have any money or name recognition. How did you do that?
Well, I got, the thing about it is a lot of times in politics, it is the lightning in the bottle moment. It is, getting lucky. I got lucky that night when I got up and spoke, all those years ago, that there was a town hall meeting that was of such significance that every TV station in Dallas was covering it live, and so that was my lightning in a bottle moment. So I became a little bit of an overnight celebrity, but that was 20 years ago, and that was in another part of
and Al, isn't that like what they say? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
It really does.
That was your preparation,
and you were truly planting seeds at that time, not even knowing it.
Exactly.
Right? Wow. Those were
I was just standing up for what I believed in.
Wow.
And in this case, what happened was, 20 years ago, being involved in Texas in the Republican Party, running for office back then, I got to know Bailey Hutchison, the senior senator from Texas.
I always thought she would have been a great VP. I liked her a little bit more than Sarah Palin, actually.
I think she might have been a better choice. But,
come on.
I was old enough to run for office, but I wasn't old enough to rent a car.
Oh, wow.
And so she had to drive me around Austin to help me, make my meetings.
Say that again. Who was driving you around?
Bailey Hutchison.
Bailey Hutchison was driving Al Ramirez around to run for office. Props out to Kay in Texas. I love that lady.
Helping me get to my meeting because she was serving as
state
treasurer.
See, that's what Republicans do. We help each other. We help each other, and we help each other's candidates.
So when we flew in from the airport, I didn't have a way downtown. I was going to take the bus.
My God!
Nowadays, it probably would have looked good for me to take the bus because I'd be green.
Yeah.
But
they probably would card you.
But you were green because you were purple.
There we go. There you go.
He said they probably card you.
That's okay. That's okay.
Well, wait. You're not a typical. Your dialect is not Spanish. You have no accent. But yeah,
I got a Texas accent.
About to say you.
But he has some Hispanic accent where people make
right. You have that. You sound like a Texas man.
Yeah, sound like a Texas man. You like you eat meat, don't you?
Bonanza.
Can you cook?
Yes.
You can barbecue or barbecue? Which one can you do?
I can do both.
Sauce or no sauce?
I can do both.
Salsa on the barbecue or sauce on the barbecue? You cross cultures. So you have the Tex-Mex.
It depends on the meat and depends on my mood.
Ooh, I like him. I'm gonna get him to cook on the show.
Because I've lived in a lot of places. I lived in Chicago for a little while. I worked in North Carolina for a while. I lived in Florida and worked in D.C. and then my career has just taken me to so many places. I've been to 46 out of the 50 states extensively, where I've had to spend time there, getting to know the people, doing business there, learning the culture, learning my way around, getting lost.
And you're very technically connected online. You'll be able to find Al Ramirez on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. You also, I love about your Twitter is that he doesn't say Al Ramirez, he says California.
Make California special.
Make California special. You're such an out-of-the-box candidate with limited funds, but yet has made your own ground in this race. That's amazing.
Well, I think that's the thing about it. I think a lot more people know about me than what the LA Times or the San Francisco Chronicle want people to know. They've written an article about all my candidates as far as full profile. They even wrote an article last week about a guy in Tennessee that started out as a Republican, dropped out, and now is running as an independent write-in candidate, highlighting about how he practices giving his speeches with a beer in one hand and a pizza slice in the other. And then this morning I saw that they wrote about all the what they consider to be the minor candidates or obscure.
But you're talking about traditional paper. We're talking about online, and you kind of passed that.
I'm the only candidate they haven't written about, either in a major profile or in a diminishing
profile. And why do you think they haven't?
Well, I think it's because I'm my own broadcast, and I think that somebody like me, scares the traditional media.
Right.
Because, the LA Times, with all their money and all their history, only has 60,000 Twitter followers, and you would think that they would have at least a couple of million of people that way it's easy to find out what the best stories are, get a link to a story very quickly, news is changing, sports scores, but they only have 60,000 Twitter followers. I have 210,000 Twitter followers. So when I put out a link, it has a much broader reach.
Much broader reach than that.
Yes, and I didn't spend millions of dollars or drive myself into
That's why I'm so excited about having Al on our show, because see, if you're in Texas or Nebraska or Utah and you're urban and you're inner city and you don't have the capabilities, this is a prime example of a strong Republican, handsome, intelligent, top of his game, very confident in who he is, not intimidated. We all need to learn and grow from you.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think it's just it's a matter of, having the right people in your life. I was just very, very fortunate to have, two parents that just gave everything. They just, they came
What type of careers were your parents?
They're both in manufacturing. They're both blue collar, hardworking people. My mom's a defense contractor.